Now back to the show. This is The Law Show on CL 650.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Sterling Fox, joined in studio by Joe Murphy and Derek Ma from MurphyBattista, LLP, a Vancouver personal injury law firm downtown at 650 West Georgia, right there in the Scotia Tower at Georgia and Granville. Joe and Derek were talking during the break because, Derek, you and I had a little conversation about, if the person who has been injured in an accident is simply too injured to come to the office, well, then that's no problem. You'll pack your briefcase and jump in your car and go see that person. That inference I took from your statement was, you'd go out to UBC or to GF Strong or something. But Joe pointed out during the break that, no, we'll go anywhere in British Columbia where we're needed.
Yeah, that's right. We'll pack our briefcase and hop on a plane or a ferry, whatever is needed, and we'll go see that person there in their home if that's what is needed to go make the proper consult with them.
Right. Actually, Sterling, we go on beyond BC. I've had clients who live in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Newfoundland who are injured in BC.
Right.
So in those cases, if need be, we go and see them wherever they are.
Sure. So and by the way, if a person in Alberta wants to have some kind of legal process done in Alberta, do they need to hire Alberta lawyers, or can you and your colleagues at Murphy-Battista take care of biz in that jurisdiction as well?
If the injury occurred in BC, then the litigation's in BC.
I see.
If the injury occurred in Alberta, and sometimes BC resident on holidays,
sure, of course,
then what we do is we partner up with an Alberta firm so that we work with them, but we take care of the main job of representing the client. But we do need a firm in Alberta. There are cases that we could litigate ourselves in any of the provinces.
Okay.
But generally, when that's happening, we partner up with a local firm.
Okay. Derek, we've been talking, and you being an ex-physiotherapist really has been quite a bonus to this conversation. I'm grateful for that. But we've been talking about quarterbacking and rehabilitation programs and packaging things up for individuals to hopefully get better, get their lives back after traumatic injury or accident. But, all of this discussion at this point, up to this point, has been about physical harm caused by injury. But there's a whole other dimension, Derek, and that's emotional or psychological harm caused by these traumatic events that we haven't even touched on, and as important a part of a rehabilitation program as getting your limbs back working again.
And it absolutely is, and this is why an occupational therapist is so important. I know, as Joe said, the name is misleading. I first heard it and I thought, sounds like someone's going to help me get back to work or find me a job.
Exactly.
But I can tell you, when I went through physiotherapy school, we trained with the OTs for our first year. We took basically all the same courses together. So they're aware of anatomy, they're aware of neurology, and all that. And then at that point, we start to branch off, and we still continue to focus on the physical part of it. The OTs focused on more the psychological and emotional part of it. So that's where they come into this role, is that they've had that training, both the physical anatomy, the neurology of the body, but also on the psychological and emotional part of people. And they can take that together and start to figure out what do people need. Because, you get in a car accident, you get in any accident, you have pain.
Sure. And
it goes into the cycle. You have pain, it becomes worse, you don't sleep, so you're fatigued. The pain of the fatigue usually lead into depression. You don't feel good about yourself. You don't feel good about where life is at. The depression magnifies the pain. This is the chronic pain cycle that you keep falling into. And that's where we lead up to the OT, to how do we break that cycle, whether it's with counseling to help with the depression part of it, it's a sleep therapist to help with the fatigue part of it, and then just with the physical injuries.
It's always the big picture, though, isn't it, Joe? You're always looking at the holistic individual rather than the wounded, the broken arm, the back injury, whatever. This person has those, but there's a mind going on here and a life, so that is as critical as whatever physical injuries may be sustained.
Without a doubt, Sterling, and that picture has to include their living situation and their family. You can't just look at them. You have to look at their world to really understand what's going on and understand what needs to be done to get them back to where they were.
So does psychological counseling in terms of a rehabilitation program, is that considered pretty normal stuff nowadays?
I would think if someone's badly injured and their whole life has changed, they need counseling.
Right.
And sometimes the family needs counseling as well to try
Do
and deal
insurance
with
companies
the
appreciate this, Joe?
No. In a word, no.
But Sterling, I don't think clients appreciate that either. I mean, I once had a a retired professional, and I suggested to him, I think you need counseling. And he looked at me almost like I'm crazy, and I said, I don't think you're crazy. I just think you really need it. He was very reluctant to do it. He finally did it, and he came back to me and said, that was the best thing you ever told me to do. So it's that part of it, because I think we all want to be that stoic person in an accident.
And guys more so than women, unfortunately,
yeah,
and
sure.
more stubborn, and big boys don't cry, all that stuff. But still, it's interesting that you would say that insurance companies are somewhat reluctant to come to terms with this, Joe. Why?
They don't. They see that as building the claim up. So as opposed to seeing that as addressing the problems that this person has as a result of an accident and injury, they see it as we're adding to a claim, we're exaggerating a claim, when in fact, as Derek said, these people often get a significant benefit from the counseling.
Well, one would think that in order to become that productive member of society you were before this traumatic event, that you're going to have to be better than just physically able to do whatever it was you once did. Your mind's got to be back there too.
You can't ignore that emotional part of it. You can't. It's just too important.
And do the courts help insurance companies recognize this if they're having some difficulty coming to terms with psychological counseling? Do the courts at least appreciate where this is beneficial?
The test, Sterling, when you go to court is if the judge finds that this was an expense that was reasonable, then you get it, you recover it. So oftentimes the debate with the insurance company is you don't want to pay this, but if we go to court, we're going to get it, so maybe you should pay it.
Okay. So the insurance, what's the risk reaction of the insurance companies when they know either they're going to have to accommodate these psychological requests in advance, or they're going to be recovered in court? Does that help?
It does help, but I think it depends on who they're dealing with, the insurance company, who the lawyer is, because if they know that lawyer does not go to trial, that risk isn't there anymore. They know that the lawyer will take 50 cents on the dollar, whatever it is. But if they know that you're a trial lawyer and you're ready to go to trial and you're prepared to go to trial, they won't take that risk with you.
Excellent point, and that is our final lesson of this hour edition of The Law Show. If you are injured and you see a personal injury lawyer and discover, through whatever means, that person either has never been to court or doesn't like to go to court, seek another personal injury lawyer. Tout de suite. I recommend MurphyBattista myself, but then I'm hopelessly biased. MurphyBattista.com is the website. Our thanks to Joe Murphy and Derek Ma. Gentlemen, a pleasure, as always.
Thank you, Sterling.
See you next time on The Law Show.